Greetings fellow Flatcaps and welcome to the Spectrum. If you've been following the channel and been in the Discord for a while, you know two things about me. One, I love video games, and two, I've played a ton of video games, ranging from the 60s to the modern day. While I am always up for trying new things, sometimes it's better to stick with what you know and like, which is why I thought today I would start sharing my top 100 games with you. But not all at once, don't worry, your arse isn't going to go numb from how long you're going to be sat there. 100. Zombie. Originally a Wii U title, Zombie is a horror survival game where you play a lone survivor in merry old England as you try to escape the zombie apocalypse. What you're currently seeing is the Xbone version. For the most part, it plays the same. The biggest difference is that when you open your inventory, it takes up the whole screen, while on the Wii U, you had to look at the screen in your hand. Oh, and on the Wii U it worked better as well. The eerie atmospheres and depressing colour palette leave you on edge all the time, just like real London. And so you should be. Even after checking the area a few times, you never know when a zombie's going to emerge from the dark, meaning that you never feel safe checking your gear or searching containers. And the zombies ain't no pushovers either. Even just one is enough to kill you, and if you do die, your skills reset and you take control of a new character and have to make your way back to your death spot to recover your gear. Definitely a contender for a game to play on Halloween with some friends in the dark and some drinks. 99. Crackdown. One of my earliest Xbox 360 experiences, Crackdown was the game where police brutality was okay because it was me who was doing it. Taking on the role of the superhuman agent in the war against 3 different crime factions, Crackdown was a very well put together game and great fun, which they only made better by adding a cheat mode to quadruple the chaos you could pull off. The premise, while a little repetitive, was still entertaining all the way through. Before taking down the leader of a crime faction, the game advised you to take down the other members to weaken the faction in general. And the faction actually did weaken with every important person taken down. It wasn't just narrative bullshit. Take down the head of recruitment, less of the faction is on the streets. Take out the intel guy, they don't fight as well. Take out the guy who supplies them with good cars, they drive shit cars. Each of these high-value targets would also be in a drastically different location, so although you were repeating the same objective and tasks, the location kept it feeling fresh, and if you ever got bored, you could do some side activities like free running and racing to increase your character's skills. The fact your agent also evolved both mechanically and physically as you leveled up your skills was a nice touch, as it made you feel like you were making progress in the game as you became the most dangerous force in the city. 98. Brutal Legend. Bought on a whim by my older sister, Brutal Legend worked its way into the list because of its humour, cast, music selection, and ridiculous in a good way storyline. After Eddie Riggs, played by Jack Black, hello, is involved in an accident, he's transported to the world of heavy metal and finds himself as part of a rebellion to free the land from tyranny. The game is basically a love letter to metal. The game features music tracks from a ton of rock legends and even stars a few of them, including Lemmy, Rob Halford, Lita Ford, and Ozzy Osbourne, as well as other voice acting talents like Tim Curry, Richard Horvitz, and Jennifer Hale. The gameplay is solid, an open world hack and slash that lets you use both melee and music to fight your enemies. As the story goes on, you'll be able to command a squad of troops and take part in full-scale wars against the enemy. The writing is fantastic, the humour is genuinely witty, the characters are all memorable.
Decapitation! There, it is dead.
And the plot is purposefully overdramatic, but is so interesting at the same time. The only issue I've got with the game is it's kind of short and navigating the world can be difficult. But what's put it so low on the list is that our copy we had constantly crashed. That one might not be a fair criticism, but I'm basing this on my memories of the game. Other than that, I love this game to bits and keep my fingers crossed for a remaster. 97. Back 4 Blood. One of the rare occasions where I got to play a co-op game with a full squad of friends, Back 4 Blood offered us a new, fresh way to take on the zombie apocalypse. Coming from the creators of the Left 4 Dead franchise, B4B sees you and 3 friends fighting your way through a gauntlet of levels as you try to complete objectives with continuously changing difficulties. If you ever played Left 4 Dead, then you know how the game plays, but what makes it different is that you can build a deck of cards to power up your character how you see fit, make them focus on healing, defense, attack, whatever you feel best. Each of the characters also has a set of skills unique to them which could complement or hinder your build. Levels also have a card system where each level will add threats and possibly debuffs to you, making each playthrough different in its own way. There are also rewards you can unlock by completing levels and earning points to spend on new costumes, sprays and weapon skins. I like this over Left 4 Dead because of how rewarding and involving it is. Not that I hate Left 4 Dead, but I only ever played it on consoles. My opinion on it could change if I ever get to play it on PC and gain access to the endless plethora of character skins, custom levels, and just crazy shit that's out there. But until then, Back 4 Blood more than satisfies my needs for zombie slaughter. '96. Naughty Bear. If you go down to the woods today, make sure you're in disguise. 'Cause if you do look cuddly or cute, this bear will gouge your eyes. Beneath the trees where nobody sees, this bear will shatter both your knees. Today's the day that Naughty has a kill fest. 95. Factory Town. A friend of mine bought me Satisfactory to play, and while I do enjoy the game, my so-called gaming laptop does not, and screams like a bitch when I'm running it. So I don't think I can play it for very long without causing damage to my laptop in some fashion. Fortunately, I was gifted a game recently that could serve as a chill equivalent, and that is Factory Town. Taking on the role of a mayor, your goal is to automate production of various goods in your town. At first, you'll be ordering around workers to gather resources, turn them into products, and then deliver them for sale, and all for no payment. As you continue to make these slaves do your bidding, your tech levels and knowledge will increase and you gain access to new ways to transport everything, such as conveyor belts, wagons, and eventually trains. Your goal in every town is to achieve a list of tasks presented to you, or you can just mess around in the sandbox mode. It's a nice little bit of quiet fun if you just want to take it easy for a while, and I do have a spot in my soul for problem solving games. So this one fits nicely into my top 100 despite it being somewhat of a new game to me. 94. Ghost Recon Wildlands. The Ghost Recon series was never one I paid too much attention to. Occasionally one of the games might keep my attention for a while, but none kept it as long as Wildlands did. Being able to explore an open world with friends has always been a plus for me when it comes to video games, and in Wildlands there is a lot to discover, steal, and raid. Even if you don't have any friends, you can customize the look of all your squads to make them feel like your own, as you aim to take down a cartel one member at a time. This sounds somewhat familiar. Planning out your attack or stealth strategy was always fun, and with so many weapons and gadgets available, teamwork was essential to cover each other's weaknesses and play your part. The character customization was fun as you had a ton of options to play with and could make whoever you wanted to be. Even a predator. You could even play as some of the Rainbow Six cast, if you forked out for some of their loot boxes. But there was one big problem with the game. It's made by Ubisoft. The AAA game company that is just one of many famous for releasing broken games and later making them worse. If you were going for stealth approaches, it wasn't impossible, but felt it because of the bullshit ways you could get spotted. Like here, I'm sneaking up on the turret guy, I'm about to take him out and... Why is the guy stationed to the turret stood there with his back to the turret? Do you know how a turret works, Ubisoft? Or as I like to call you, Ubisoft in the head? Or how about this one? I sneak into a room and begin to steal intel. Oh shit, I'm being spotted. Well, it's my fault, I didn't check the room properly. Oh, I forgot the enemy can see through solid fucking walls. If it wasn't for these bugs, then this would be higher on the list. but it's low because I only enjoyed it with friends and not with the dumbass AI who constantly get in my way or struggle to kill things. If you can get a full squad together, then this is a great game to play. But on your own, expect frustration and a lot of rage. '93, Solasta. I'm a big fan of TTRPGs. I love making characters, playing said character, and watching them grow in strength and as a person as the adventure continues. Mimicking said experience into a video game is no easy task, and many titles of this genre either took their own direction when doing it, or emulated it poorly, leaving me unsatisfied for the most part. Until Solasta came into the picture. I know Baldur's Gate 3 is available and is also very good, but my gaming laptop screams not like a bitch, but in pain when it tries to run it, and I also can't afford it. Thankfully, the Game Pass allowed me to play Solasta, which in comparison looks like a weaker version of BD3, but is still good at what it does. Creating a character closely matches the method you use in D&D, and with multiple skill trees available, you can be sure to find the character build that's right for you. The gameplay is easy to pick up and the tutorials make everything so easy to understand. Not only that, but your characters aren't silent protagonists. During cutscenes, they have personality, will actually speak, as well as give each other shit, with voice lines that change depending on their chosen personality traits. But just like real TTRPGs, the dice will be your best friend and your worst enemy. Anyone who watched me stream this game can confirm that spellcasters always seem to roll low and the enemy reliably rolled high. You can change your options to make it as easy or as hard as you want, but no matter what you do, expect to be pissed off when the dice fuck you in the arse at the worst possible time. Consistently. 92, Resident Evil 6. Okay, now before I get into the game, let me clarify before some of you gaming snobs decide to get mad at me in the comments. I like Resident Evil 6 as an action game, but not as a Resident Evil game. Ever since 5, I found that the series has had a sort of identity crisis. Sure, it took some steps towards its original roots somewhat when the Revelation series came out, but compare it to how it started to what it is now, the series is unrecognisable, with the only thing tying it to its roots are the name and the occasional cameo from the original characters. But I digress. Speaking of the characters, 6 features the return of Leon, Chris, Ada, and an all-grown-up Sherry Birkin, and introduces new characters Jake, Piers, and Helena, each one also playing differently with unique abilities to them. I remember when this game was coming out, the developers claimed that each of the playable campaigns would be for different player wants. Do you want horror? Play Leon's campaign. You want action? Play Chris's campaign. Want a bit of both? Jake's campaign. The problem is that all of them turn into action pretty quickly, so it has none of what made the series so great in the first place. You can't even use the alt costumes in the campaign anymore, which used to be a staple for the Resident Evil series. On the plus side, each of the campaigns is fully playable and co-op, with some sections even allowing, even if it is a pretty shoddy system, a 4-player co-op section. You can also play a variety of versus modes, if you can find anybody. The story is kind of cheesy, it's full of cliches and predictable moments, and sometimes predictable characters. But what I liked most was the combat system. It feels great, and you can pull off some pretty badass maneuvers once you get the hang of it. Mercenaries mode was the mode I enjoyed best, and I'm going to be completely honest. If Capcom ever made a Resident Evil game that featured a collection of playable characters from all across the series, as well as weapons from all across the series, that had the raid mode from Revelations with the combat mechanics of Resident Evil 6, I would be all over that shit. But as we all know, we shouldn't dare to dream when it comes to modern gaming. Not like games companies actually give a shit about the consumer anymore. '91, Mercenaries 2. I played the first title, and though I thoroughly enjoyed it, it felt like it was missing a few things. It needed something to make the action more fluid, look better, more personal. Then Mercenaries 2 came out, and it filled all those bloodthirsty desires that I had. More action, more destruction, more toys, and most importantly, more money. All that and more was delivered in the sequel. The story is more involving too. In the first game, the plot was you were there to earn money by capturing high-value targets for whoever was paying the most. In the second one, it's now a tale of revenge, as a corrupt politician refuses to pay for a job they hired you for and then tries to kill you, only to end up shooting you in the arse. So you send a message by raiding and stealing his mansion, then tearing down his empire before going after him. How do you do this? Well, use your imagination. Airstrike? You got it. Sports car with a rocket turret? Bada bing! Stealing a tank that's part of his army? Boom! Now it's yours. Want to bring a friend? What's stopping you? Well, probably the servers being down, maybe? And while the writing is pretty basic in terms of the plot, there are some funny moments in it. There's some memorable characters, and there's a running joke of you being the merc that Solano shot in the arse. But it's great fun all the way through, whether you're being violent or just sarcastic. It was so much fun, and I really hope they make a third one, or at least remaster the sequel. Because if you ever need to blow something up because you're pissed off, this is the way to do it. And that's it for now. So, what do you think of my selection? Do you agree, or do you think I've got bad taste? As always, your thoughts are welcome in the comments below. And while you type it out, I thank you for watching, and remember, you're always welcome at the Spectrum.